Mm-hmm.
So when most people think of pollinators, they think of bees, specifically honeybees, but most of our pollinators come from our native insects. And people don't realize that butterflies are an important pollinator as well. All right, so here we have a native viburnum, and this is called arrowwood viburnum. We got a whole line of them going this way, we got a bunch going that way down the property line. And they are important for this little blue butterfly called the spring azure. And it's a complicated group of butterflies. There's a silvery azure, there's a summer azure, but they're all really not even sure that they're not related. They may all be the same species. But anyway, if you want this little tiny blue butterfly, then you need to have viburnum around, because that's what their caterpillars eat. So most people have heard of the association between the monarch butterfly and milkweeds, but most people don't know that there's many species of milkweeds. So here's one species I want to show you, and this is one of the milkweeds right here. This is called butterfly weed. It's in the milkweed family, and it tends to grow kind of low like this. Tends to like drier soils. See lots of pollinators coming right by me here. And like all the milkweeds, it'll lay its eggs on here. The eggs will hatch and start consuming this particular milkweed. If we go around the other side, I'll show you another milkweed. Okay, so here's another milkweed. This is called world milkweed, and that has to do with the arrangement of the leaves around the stem here. They kind of go around in a whirl. And you can see up here is a particular insect, and that is a milkweed bug that only lives around milkweed. So it's kind of neat to see this in here. So here's one of those species that, again, you don't want front and center in your house. It's called stinging nettles, and it does sting. If you get it on you, it'll go away, but it's not a super attractive plant, but it's really important for these types of butterflies that you see here. So the bottom one, which is a really gorgeous butterfly, it's called Milbert's tortoiseshell. And then you have two others that look identical, but they're really not. One's called the comma, and the other's called the question mark. And they're named for that based on some of the spotting on their wings that you can't see when their wings are open. They've got to be closed. They lay their eggs on those plants. Eggs hatch, and the caterpillars consume those leaves. Okay, so when it comes to lawn care concerning pollinators, you're going to want to leave some areas that are kind of rough, that don't have just pure grass, that have other plants that are living in that lawn of yours. And obviously you wouldn't want it like at the entrance to your house or immediately around the house, but somewhere on the edge or something like that is fine. But here is a great example of a plant. Here's actually one that's flowering. Okay, this one here is called a plantain. But it's probably English plantain. And this species here, called the buckeye, lays its eggs on the plantain, among a few other species. And so if you want this buckeye around, then you're going to want to have species like that around as well. So it gives people incentive not to put chemicals down on their lawns, to kill out all the weeds, and to have some rough areas. And here's something really cool. I just saw this happen. So if you come on real close, see this little hole right there? Mm-hmm. Most of our bees are solitary bees. They don't live in colonies like honeybees. Oh, and see, the one just went right down in there. So he or she is probably feeding some larvae down in there, bringing either pollen or nectar down to them, and eventually they'll come out when they've completed that early life stage.